Welcome, everybody, back to the ATI Podcast. Barrett here. I got Josh, the co-host, as usual.
Hello.
And we have Jennifer from Alamo Drafthouse. And today we're going to be talking about Alamo Drafthouse St. Louis specifically, and just kind of generate some interest here at Alamo Drafthouse. And everybody knows, our fans that follow us, that we're big movie buffs. We've had several movie-centric episodes. We've had directors on the show, people that scored films, things of that ilk. So we wanted to kind of get more on the corporate side of things and talk more business operations type related stuff.
Yeah.
And then specifically the experience that St. Louis Alamo Drafthouse is providing its clients, its customers, its clientele. So, Jennifer, nice to have you on the show.
Yeah,
thank you. But please, my mother's Jennifer. You can call me Jen.
Okay, all right, Jen.
My mom's not Jennifer. I'm sorry. No, it's a different name altogether. It's great to be here.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, we appreciate it. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate the opportunity for sure. Alamo Drafthouse is one of those things that I had yearned for St. Louis to have for years. I had a friend who lived out in Colorado, so Denver, the Alamo Drafthouse there. He was always going to events. He was a part of a membership club, the film club that they had out there, and was able to go catch some very cool things like a Monty Python themed dinner.
Yeah.
He did
just
several different films, so. And I know tonight we've got a special showing coming.
Very special
with the room.
showing.
Yeah, with GREG SESTERO.
Yes.
He's going to be here and do some live commentary, right?
Yep, he is. The next 2 nights. I'm very excited about that. This is just the beginning, really. When we open, we really want to focus on training and giving the best guest experience. And now that everybody's feeling comfortable and stuff, I'm like, now let's have some fun. So this is the beginning. And you mentioned like a special dinner for Monty Python. Absolutely count on that coming down the pipeline too. We're going to have dinners. Film club, all the things that other Alamos have.
Very cool. Very cool. And I know that Alamo Drafthouse too tries to kind of target the area at which that they have an establishment at and have events related to that area as well.
Yes.
So the original Drafthouse, of course, is in Austin, Texas, where Tim League and his wife started, right?
Yep, that's right.
And so they have things like Fantastic Fest down there, which is a huge film festival that he's very active and involved in specifically.
Which is amazing.
It is amazing.
Keeping it alive.
Yeah. Have you ever been to a Fantastic
Unfortunately,
Fest?
I have not, but I have yearned to do so. My wife and I have a little savings that we're trying to accumulate.
Oh, that's great. I got to go once in 2019, and it was insane. Ryan Johnson was there for Knives Out, and Bong Joon-ho was also there for Parasites. So I got to see both of those premieres.
Wow.
And
incredible.
and I think sometimes I'm like, well, maybe it's meant to be that you haven't been back since. I mean, we didn't have a traditional one after that for a couple of years, but it was just such a wild ride.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. And that was just as a spectator, just going and watching movies. So like, I didn't even realize everything I was going to get into. So it's truly a great event. I would love to eventually create some sort of film festival, similar to it without stepping on the toe of anybody else, obviously. But it's something special. But yeah, really, we love to tie into the community in any way we can. And we're having, I'm going to butcher their name and now I feel terrible, but it's like this, essentially like the Scottish Society. We're going to have a screening of Monty Python and the Holy Grail and have them out to just talk about the cool stuff they do. And they were here for the grand opening too, that we, had week before last, that, with bagpipes, just all the fun stuff.
Right.
Anything we can tie into the community for, make it more fun, get a spotlight on anything that is happening around us.
Definitely.
Whether that's our neighbors at the Foundry, or just a nonprofit or anybody who has a movie and, maybe they want to screen their movie here and just all of it. Yeah.
It's odd to think that St. Louis itself actually has quite a few film directors here, screenwriters, people that edit film. One of what I consider one of the best films last year that was actually released, The Watcher, pretty low key and underrated. The film editor was actually from St. Louis.
I did not realize that.
It's a very good movie, but there's just a lot of talent in St. Louis that people don't know about, and that's in part kind of why we do our thing. We try to let people know about that. Furthermore, but let's learn a little bit more about you. How did you get started with Alamo Drafthouse?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked. The truth is, I was my dad owned an independent movie theater in this little town where I grew up by Kansas City. And he bought that. It had been shut down for some years, and he bought it when I was about 7. And so I was part of that whole process of like renovating a space and trying to turn it into something, that would equal people going to the movies, because he loved movies, still loves movies. And that's what I did. I grew up in theater, scraping candy from under seats, and cleaning bathrooms getting paid cash under the table at the beginning. So I was a child, and it was technically illegal.
Right.
Right. I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to say his name. But I know now, Dad. But I loved it. I just wanted to be there all the time. And then I stayed, off and on. I worked there through high school, and then managed when I was in college. And then after that, I didn't want to work for movie theater again. Sure. I was like, I put in my time, not doing it. Saw that Alamo in Springfield just opened up, and they were looking for a creative manager. And I was at my job that was not at a movie theater at the time, and thought I can't stand the thought of another day here. I want to go back to the theater, So I applied for that job and thankfully got it, because who knows what would happen otherwise. And it's just been great ever since, we shut down for a while during, just about, 3 years ago, about this exact time. And just the idea that industry might have taken such a massive catastrophic hit that none of us might come back was just terrifying. I was like, what else do I even want to do? Nothing. I don't want to do anything else. I either want to write about movies or watch movies. And so I was really grateful to, that we made it on the other side of that. And one of the great byproducts of that is that our franchise owners had the opportunity to purchase the St. Louis location and took it, which is, we were, St. Louis was going to open in the before times. That was announced, I think, in 2018. And then there was very like, are we going to make it? Or, are any of us going to make it? I every time I mention it, I'm like, well, you all know. I don't need to talk about it. We were all there.
It's so odd the way that we reflect on that time now, because, it seems so devastating. But at the time, it was not too long ago. And the fact that, it's kind of bounced back pretty recently, right?
I know. It's really exciting, but, you're still like so scared. Can I say that things are better? They feel like they're better. It feels like we're all back out, and we're all just having a good time, and we can just put the pedal to the metal and move forward with all of these community-based events and all the things that made Draft House great before, and that, will be great again in a new community.
Right.
I know a part of the recruiting process, or at least what I'm familiar of it too, as far as staff that work at Alamo Drafthouse, it's also a plus if you're a fan of films, right? So you can kind of mingle.
It's not going to be nearly as fun if you're not. Like I can't imagine, working this job. I've worked jobs where I haven't necessarily been a fan of that product. And you're like, you're not a fan, but it's like, I just don't get it. And I feel like that if you just don't get movies, or it's not your, like I have a son who doesn't like movies and he's obviously switched at birth, and that's going to be a whole other thing that we deal with down the road. But some people aren't fans of it, but I still say that you can have a great time here. We have so many other things happening. But if you work here and aren't a fan of movies, maybe it's not for you. Right. And I don't mean, sometimes it's not a fit. Right. Like, it doesn't mean anybody's wrong. It just means that,
situation, right?
It's just like the chances are excellent you're going to be working in a movie theater within the structure.
Right.
So
for sure.
If you hate it, don't do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, I've grown up on films my life. That to me, the essence of seeing a movie is a family experience or a friend experience, right? So you go to a theater and there's a communion there, and it's an understanding that everybody's here to see this one thing.
Yeah.
And it's bringing us all together.
Yes.
That's the beauty of it. And I really feel like, some of the policies that Alamo Drafthouse has in place to help keep that, special nature of seeing movies,
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Keeping it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And And so like even like something that somebody might read and be off put by the idea that, oh, you get your phone out, we're going to ask you to leave, or, things of that ilk, or you come late to the movie. But those are ultra distracting things.
Yes.
Whenever you go see a theater, and I know as a film fan, like I get kind of cringy when people start coming in late, they got their phone lights on, that sort of thing. So it just kind of sets off the experience in the wrong direction. So reason being for such policies to be in place, right?
Exactly. And you're right. I'm glad you brought that up, because we don't intend for any of these to seem as if we are, better than the average moviegoer. It's just a celebration of the theatrical experience.
Right.
So it's more like we have people tell us all the time, well, I am just a little bit late, but I'm not going to create a disturbance. And, like I was probably going to get up and go to the bathroom later anyway, but there's a difference between, slipping out of your seat, going to the bathroom and coming back, and settling into your seat. Like even
Definitely
if if you think you're not making that much noise, you're still, maybe there's a coat, maybe there's a bag, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just the act of settling is a distraction by its nature.
Sure.
And so we are by movie lovers for movie lovers. Tim and Carrie League were huge movie lovers, are to this day. And they wanted an experience that gave almost this, respectful hush to, like, yes, we all have to be in a shared space, but we can do so in a respectful way.
Absolutely.
And, and I think the way that they created it does make this experience at Alamo more of, I just met a bunch of people, maybe not directly, but who are my friends now, because we have the same reverence for this experience. Absolutely. And then, unfortunately, sometimes a crying baby is not ideal. So we have all ages screenings, sensory friendly, all ages screenings that cater to, family with those needs, or, maybe the sound needs to be a little lowered. Just being respectful for all sensory experiences. And then we have, we don't allow babies beyond that. It's nothing. It doesn't mean we hate babies or hate children. It just means that, we are very aware. Many of us are parents ourselves, and very aware of the distractions that come with small children. And, we want to provide an outlet for families too, so they can still come, but, but then,
I could say this with very young children myself, and sometimes they're angels and sometimes they're demons. So, I know it, and I'm embarrassed to be in public sometimes whenever the fits happen and that sort of stuff, the scene that it makes. Just imagine that in a quiet movie theater where everybody's, especially like a drama or something,
you're like in a serious part.
Absolutely. Just kind of brings the sanctity of the process and the ritual of going to see a movie,
It really does. And no disrespect to anybody. We just want to make it a safe space for people who are there to see the movie.
Sure.
That's,
absolutely.
in whatever form that takes. And so I have felt a lot of times, and especially like with our rep screenings, our movie parties, and, it really is a community, and you really do feel a little closer to everyone else when you leave, even if you didn't say a word to them.
Absolutely.
Well, the community aspect too, I find quite interesting. It's not just talk, because you guys are actually located in the Foundry, which is kind of its own community inside of St. Louis as well. So a stellar location. How did that come together?
Steve Smith, who is the owner of the Foundry, just had this amazing vision and the foresight to have a lot of people in place to execute it. So he got this lined out, I think, in 2018. And obviously it was a long time coming, but just watching how much it's changed since the first time I was here during our construction phase is just amazing, like incredible. I love this space. Like, it is a community. Unlike, there are a couple of other draft houses similar, in which it's like a sub community within a community, but this is my favorite. Like, it's just, every time I get here, I just get excited to be here. Like, it's just looking at it. The view from the second floor windows here is incredible. And then just, I've made it a point to shop at every one of the little shops so I can meet the people, and everybody's so nice. They're just like, so, and you can tell like genuine nice versus like retail nice, so to say, but like, they just seem like so kind. And I have not had a bad experience here yet. Not that I'm trying to, but like, it's just consistently
just
great.
Sitting at the bar here in this area, some of the seating that you guys have, it almost gives that cityscape feeling. Like, I almost feel like I got a corner office in Mad Men or something.
It's the best view. Every time I'm here, I work close to the window, so I can just like look out
Absolutely.
at everything.
And I find kind of your beginnings as well kind of interesting because it does kind of align similar with the founder who you mentioned, Tim Lee, is that they kind of started out as a second run film theater. And that was the humble beginnings of Alamo Drafthouse.
Exactly.
And you and your family essentially did the same thing.
Exactly. Oh yeah. I feel it because I still get goosebumps every time the lights go down before a movie that I've seen in a movie theater. Like every movie, like there's just something about it. Like it's just this suspended reality, you know, like I know that escape. I especially love to see movies here because I know I'm not going to secretly be checking my email at any point like I would at home or, you know, like getting on my phone. It makes me put down the outside world and like just live in this magic bubble for a couple of hours. And don't we all need that?
Yeah. Yeah. In 2023, you definitely need that distraction.
Yeah.
Even if it's for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Without question. And I know that, you know, with it being located here in the Foundry as well, I'm sure you probably get some like walk-in business, just people out of curiosity come in to check out the establishment outside of your diehards. Like, I would kind of consider myself one, even though I'm finally seeing a movie tonight. We're actually doing the room screen.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Well, I'll see you at that one too.
Yeah, we're really excited to do that. And, but you know, just to lean into some of the experiences that folks get to have here. I know that there's other things that happen, like you do theme months, like Keanu month is either this month or upcoming, right? Where you're showing various Keanu Reeves films. You know, you do special second screenings like this morning. I actually really loved the movie Booksmart whenever it came out.
Me too.
I thought it was sneaky good. Nobody was talking about it. And you did like a Booksmart brunch this morning, like with a brunch themed breakfast and stuff. So that's
thank you for knowing about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane. The various things that Alamo Drafthouse offers its clients, its customers.
Yes. Yeah. We love to, and we also love to take requests too. Like, we're always looking for, because there's always other stuff that we could be doing. And, you know, we don't know what people love until they tell us. So I love our brunch series because brunch is great. And there are some movies that are just seem to pair very well with that. I love that we did Booksmart because sneaky good is a great way of describing that movie. And then just stuff that might be based in a specific community. In Springfield, Missouri, where I'm based a lot of the time, we had like a literacy council nonprofit where we did book adaptations for the whole month and had them come and speak before and give away some of the books associated with movies, and just talk about their mission and how they were helping the community. So we're always looking for those types of outreach things too. But we found that movie parties are just such a quick, automatic way to build a community here, and our film club as well. Like it's like a book club, but with movies, you know, where you have titles that seem to invite discussion more so than others. And then you just have a little like 30-minute post-film Q&A afterwards or discussion or whatever. Like with Greg, we'll have a little post-film Q&A, you know, and where everybody gets to ask them the questions you've wondered, like what was that really like? I mean, like in your words, like how'd you make it through that? Like, come on. It's just fun. It's just extra little fun things that really make a movie more meaningful in a lot of cases.
Absolutely. So. And the aspect of, you know, having Greg here tonight, again, with the film, The Room showing, you know, with the Q&A aspect, it gets that personal interaction that you don't get at other theaters in most cases, you know, almost in every case, quite frankly.
Yes.
It's an experience that is almost exclusively Alamo Drafthouse too. That folks should be aware of for sure.
Yes. And we're, you know, that's the thing, just making sure that we're getting the word out to people that this, you know, we do have all of these things, and we, you know, are always inviting, what are your thoughts? What are your requests? You know, we want to hear it because we can, you know, a lot of times make it happen.
And I'm sure a large part you guys stay sensitive to, you know, anniversaries of such movies. So for example, getting back to The Room tonight, it's the 20th anniversary.
Yes.
So that makes it kind of extra special with why we're getting the A to Z commentary from Greg over the film. But I know that goes on in other phases of movies that you guys show as well.
Yes, absolutely. The Big Lebowski, for example, 25 years this year. So I'm sure we're going to be having some Big Lebowski movie parties at some point. We're always mindful of any kind of anniversary, like you mentioned, Keanu Forever this month leading up to John Wick 4. Just like Keanu is just one of those people that when you really start to look at his filmography, you're like, oh God, I forgot about that. I forgot about that. How has it been this long since Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure? You know, like I first loved him in Parenthood, with Steve Martin, where he was just the ditzy boyfriend.
Yeah.
And that's one I've watched over and over again. I also love Bill and Ted. But just, you know, like just his range as an actor and just seeing him now. I just watched a John Wick marathon yesterday in preparation for John Wick 4 coming up next weekend. And sometimes we're like, just look at this person and look at how much they've done. Let's celebrate it. You know, it's an easy, we like to have a theme each month. And this was just such an easy one leading up to John Wick.
The thing about Keanu too, it seems like whenever you watch him in interviews, he seems like a genuinely good person. So it makes it easy to be a fan of him, right?
How could you not? You know, like Brendan Fraser too. Come on.
Yeah, and the whale was just incredible as well.
I still have yet to see the whale, but
you've got to. You're going to need to see it.
Like I used to never cry at films, but since becoming a father, I've become like way more sensitive.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And like that film, there's like 3 or 4 parts that I was just like almost ugly crying.
Yeah, yeah.
My wife never sees me crying. She's like, "You okay?" You know,
there's just something in there that needed to come out. Yeah, it was a delight. But yeah, just lovable people that just make great movies. I mean, what's not to love about that story? And
I know we've talked quite a bit about the movie aspect of things, but that's not all that Alamo Drafthouse provides. Of course, Drafthouse is in the name. You guys have quite a selection up on the front end, right?
Yes, we do. We have 48 beers on tap, which it is. Yeah. So any given time, 48 beers. And you know, we have some bottled beers as well, but a lot of beer here. Yeah. The name was like chosen for a reason, you know, it's, and we really like to tie into the community with those beers too. So as many local breweries as we can get in every community, we're going to do that. Here has been great. Heather Bell's our bar manager. She's incredible. Just in reaching out to beers and having pop-ups. Like we had the grand opening, last week, we had second shift here. And just any reason we can have to celebrate something within the community, we're going to do. And that's, you know, the tap wall is another example of that.
And then outside of the tap wall too, of course, food.
Yes.
Is another aspect of it.
So local producers of ingredients we have represented here. We have, I cannot remember the name right now, but our toasted ravioli, like where we have, we have, I got to meet the guy who we made that partnership agreement. I got to meet him in that moment. And it's just like, I love that. I love just finding any purveyor of local goods or anything where we can be like, hey, let's meet up. And it's one thing that all Alamos have in common, but every Alamo has its own.
Sure.
You know, and I love that.
Yeah.
Sure. And it really makes Alamo a destination location as well. Just that cavalcade of experiences that you guys provide.
Great word. Great word. Dropped it in like it was nothing. I'm very impressed with that. It's one of those that I know, and then I try to say, and it's like cavalcade. But yes, you're absolutely right. We're always looking for partners, and that goes, you know, down to our merch wall. We just talked to Messed Up Puzzles, a local place, and we're going to carry their puzzles here. So
cool.
Like everything we can do, we're going to try to do.
Yeah. And we took a little bit of a tour of the grounds and everything before the interview today and got kind of a lay of the land, walked down the theater hallways. And of course,
and all,
you know, absolutely. The posters specifically, we have to mention the various movie posters, just everything that you can think of, from old black comedies from Dr. Strangelove all to, you know, more modern day things like, well, modern to me, because I'm like, you know, in my middle 30s, but Edward Scissorhands and things like that, you know. Beetlejuice and so on and so forth. Very fantastic cool film. Aesthetic and design, and kind of the older style, you know, carpeted hallways too. That kind of gives you almost there's almost like a royal feeling to walking down the hallway and then seeing these gold trim, you know, foreign movie posters and so on and so forth.
Yes,
so it just sets the mood before you even enter the theater for sure.
That's another thing. Each Alamo has its own theme. So this one, again, like I keep saying, this is my favorite in a lot of ways, but it is because the theme is absurdist comedies. And that's my favorite genre.
Yeah.
I'm about 10 years older than you. But that was still like what I was raised in.
Sure.
And especially early Steve Martin.
Yeah.
So my favorite movie is The Jerk. With Steve Martin, and one of my other favorite movies is The Man with Two Brains. With anything Steve Martin did, I love. Like I'm not gonna say like, but those were like two of my early core
Right.
memory forming. Just wild, didn't make sense. I didn't understand why everybody's laughing at first, and like
Right,
that
right.
kind of, but I just grew up watching it until I did get it. And those are just my favorite movies, just that because it's the easiest for me to forget the rest of life when I'm
Sure.
just laughing at something that just doesn't even make sense,
Absolutely.
And so, seeing all of those big, especially 80s when I was a kid, like all those movies I saw as a child, like it's just very strongly tied into nostalgia. I'm a big nostalgia freak. You always want to romanticize the past.
Sure.
And so, it's just my favorite theme.
Yeah, I mean, like the time frame too that we're all basically talking about. Some of the films that you've named and I've named, late 70s and early 90s. That was kind of the window. A lot of those films that we're talking about became popular for sure. So a lot of Terry Gilliam work, a little bit of Kubrick work in there. Tim Burton, so on and so forth. But just like absurdist comedies definitely, I think, speaks to this area as well. Because I feel like St. Louis has always been a city of resiliency. We faced a lot of adversity.
Yes.
But at the same time, we've also been lending hands out to other folks in the midst of that. So, like, for example, like during the Bosnian conflict, we housed a lot of Bosnian refugees here.
Yeah.
We just brought over a lot of Ukrainian refugees, for example. So it's just kind of a part of what this city is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And, and then getting back to the more of the absurd comedy stuff, it allows that escape, but I think it speaks to, it doesn't matter where you're from.
Right.
Right.
That type of humor speaks to everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
Without question.
Yeah.
It brings people together.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's great. I mean, I love some of the other themes too. For 2001, Space Odyssey is the theme of Springfield, and it's really cool. It's really cool in there. But that's that's one movie. And this we get to celebrate so many, and it's just amazing.
So when it comes to the food and beverage aspect too, I know you've kind of hit on the fact that local ingredients try to use local breweries and things, but I know there's like meal themes.
Yes.
So, for example, let's say we're showing a film and we're doing a 5-course meal to pair with that. Can you kind of talk about what the concepts are behind that?
Yeah. So that's a whole process. So
I can imagine.
We have an incredible kitchen manager, Jeremy, and John is the assistant kitchen manager, and they are so smart with pairing food to movies. Jeremy he was previously in our Springfield location, created several beer dinners and fancy dinners. My favorite was for Blues Brothers. There was just, I can't, it's a lot of not safe for work language, but like the effing salad cost $10 as a course, and orange whip was a course, so the idea is you look for a movie that is long enough to produce, so many courses, ideally has like specific food themes in different scenes that would make sense for it to be, for it to have a multi-course meal, and, that it's funny enough that people aren't going to be either focused on how long they've been sitting there or, or the food that is in front of them. So it's not meant to be take too much of your attention away, still have a great time, enjoy the movie. And also it's not overpowering to where you are focused just on
it just enhances the experience because you're engaging with the film on a level that you don't normally get to, right? So like, fortunately, sometimes like smell-o-vision isn't a thing in films, right? But like, in this instance, it's almost as if you're eating with them in certain scenes, how you guys pair stuff. So, that's, again, just another incredible experience that you're only going to have at the Alamo Drafthouse. Otherwise, at the other places, you're just going to get, fried chicken strips and a burger,
Right. We got that too. We got that too.
Yeah, you guys got it. You got it if people need it. But also, in these instances, there's a little bit more thought put behind it.
Yes, so much thought. And then we also have, we'll have a menu that we'll keep for a big new release. Like for Ant-Man Quantumania, we had tiny little menus and little magnifying glasses with them that we kept, throughout the run of that movie. We'll do a lot of like big new Disney releases. We'll have like an associated menu with them. Because we want it to stay in the theater as long as possible. So we tie those more to blockbusters, but then we have, just our regular everyday menu too. So if somebody, we try to cater to everything, whether you vegan, gluten-free,
Right.
Adventurous, or you're one of the people that are like, I know what I like and I'm ordering that every time.
Right.
We got you covered there too.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I know another part of your guys' experience that we don't want to gloss over is the fact of concentration on foreign films at times.
Yes.
Usually there's an undertow of foreign films constantly being shown at Alamo Draft Houses as well.
Yeah, we want to show as much as we can. You know, if something is available to screen theatrically in any way, we want to show that. Every genre, because I'm personally like, absurdist comedy is my favorite. Documentary is my second favorite. And it's not always easy to find, you know, something that's not going to be a guaranteed hit at movies. But we try to cater a little bit to everybody so that everybody feels like there's something for them.
Sure.
And you can always just find it on our app. Just get our app, scroll through, see what you like. And then also shoot us a request.
Sure.
Like I mentioned that before. It's a real thing. Like a lot of my favorite things that I've found have been at the request of film club people.
Sure.
A lot of our film club titles were based on like, what do you guys want to see next? Then we vote on it.
Sure.
Yeah, but I'm always, there's no way I as a person can be aware of everything that's going on. So I really lean on people to help me there.
For sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of the film club, let's talk about it. You know, how does one join the film club? What benefits are you granted being a part of the film club? So on.
I'm glad you said that. We're just getting it started. We do have, right now we have a Facebook group. I think it's St. Louis Alamo Film Club. I'll have to look that up. Fix it and post.
Yeah.
And then you join on the Facebook group, and then we are going to start like taking requests, and then we'll have a host that kind of runs these and leads the discussion afterwards. We have passports. So everybody who attends a film club screening, if you don't already have a passport, we will issue you a passport.
Okay.
You get it stamped every screening you're at. After 5 screenings, you get a film club pin, and after 10, a film club shirt. And then after that, we just keep throwing free stuff at you every 5 movies or so.
Something wrong with that.
Yeah. And then you get another prize if you fill up your book. And
And then I'm sure your actual, you know, more traditional rewards program is different outside of that. Can you talk about what your rewards program is?
The Victory Rewards program, we opened at a great time because we had suspended that for a little while. We're getting ready to roll it back out in Q2, which is getting ready to start. So basically by the time this is out, I think we'll be good. And you can just earn rewards by seeing a movie. We have it at 4 tiers. So there's Commandant, Captain, Top Brass, Citizen, I think is the first one. And with every movie that you see, you just log into your Victory account, which if you have the app or you buy tickets online, that will automatically add the rewards there. You can get free food. You can get free movies. We occasionally have Victory screenings that are just advanced screenings of movies before they come out for our Victory members. It's definitely worth it because it doesn't cost you anything to join, and you get like all of our emails and first peek at all the stuff that's only available to Victory members. So that's definitely cool.
Yeah, that's
very cool. Very cool. Now, is the St. Louis and Springfield locations the only ones that you go back and forth between, or do you go to the other?
Yeah, I do. Well, I go to Austin about once a year, you know, for different stuff, just to check in on everybody and see what we're all doing. Yeah. But yeah, Springfield and St. Louis are the only ones I regularly travel to.
Very cool. Well, just to get to know you a little bit more too, I know earlier you said The Jerk is probably your favorite film of all time, right? Yeah. Are you a fan of other genres of film?
I am. I really, like I said, I love documentaries. I'm pretty good with dramas, any kind of tearjerker, anything comedy related is going to be my first, like even rom-coms. I am really trying hard to understand action movies more. Yeah. So like I watched all 3 John Wicks that are already out yesterday, and I love Keanu Reeves. I was like, does he ever take a break to get a sip of water? It just feels like 2 hours straight of fighting.
Yeah, it does.
He's going to have to rest sometime. Is anybody looking after him? I'm worried about him. You know, so I'm working on action movies, and then horror. I really started to develop the first horror movie I ever saw was Carrie, and I saw that because my mom felt bad. She had grounded me, and so she let me rent any movie I wanted.
And that was the one.
And I was like, this looks terrifying. This is going to drive her crazy. And I chose it, and then I just got paid back big time because then I watched it by myself after everybody went to bed, and then I was scared for about 5 years. And then I think it might have broken me because there have been very few movies that have scared me since. So I was like, well, I don't like horror because it doesn't work for me, but I'm trying to really make myself give it a second chance.
Yeah.
And I have found a couple of really good ones. So.
Sure. Horror, I had a very similar experience, but I went in the other direction. I ended up loving it a lot.
Yeah.
So like,
is that your favorite?
It's almost like my go-to every time. Even a bad horror movie, I can usually suffer through it.
Yeah.
Occasionally you got to turn them off, but I will recommend if you haven't seen Psycho Goreman, who I have the shirt on.
Yes.
That's an absurdist comedy.
We will be showing that here. I promise
awesome.
you. Yep.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
definitely going to be one that we show. I got to give it another chance.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, it's extremely
trying.
campy. Campy movies, I understand, aren't for everybody.
I love campy though. I just haven't seen that one.
It often plays back into kind of the absurdist comedy type
Love
stuff. Especially in this, and there's so many quotable lines too. Like it was like my favorite film the year that it came out. It's just absolutely excellent. So can't recommend it enough.
Awesome.
So I'm glad to hear that there's thought of showing it here.
Oh yeah, I guarantee it will be here.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is usually here at least once a year, and so we'll get it on the next rotation.
So when did Alamo Drafthouse St. Louis officially open?
December, mid-December, right? Okay. The week of Avatar, so like December 16th.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it had only been a few months, and I know, like originally, like you said, in 2018, there was talk of breaking ground and that sort of thing. The wheels started going into motion.
Yeah.
And me as a film fan, I'm just like constantly waiting for it to be here, and finally it's here, and it feels almost surreal.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. It feels like the longest wait because I had only just started in Springfield when I heard that St. Louis was going to get one.
Yeah.
And I just think of how long ago that was.
Yeah.
Sure. I didn't honestly even realize until I was doing a little bit more research and reading through that there was one in Springfield. Otherwise, I probably would have went down to Springfield sooner.
Yeah.
But
I was unaware.
Nothing really brings me down there, with the exception of the colleges down there. We used to have friends that went to college down there and that sort of thing. But yeah, I know you mentioned that the Springfield one's a Space Odyssey themed location. When did that open?
2017, June of 2017.
Okay, so it's still pretty young.
So it's fairly new.
So it's infancy for sure.
Yep. But Alamo years, it's middle-aged.
Yeah. So how many Alamo locations are there overall now?
39.
39, wow.
39 locations, awesome.
And I believe Boston is going to be number 40. It's pretty close to opening.
Yeah,
and then Chicago just opened since we've opened. So, three pretty quick. And then we'll have Birmingham next year, too. So, yeah.
And that's so cool because you can tie in the community with all those locations, too. You know what I mean? Like Boston, there's a bunch of stuff you can do for Boston.
Yeah, Chicago is in Wrigleyville, so it's right across the street from Wrigley Field.
Wow. That's going to be awesome.
Location.
Yeah,
sure.
and it is John Hughes themed. So, like the lobby is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's the back of the car going through the window. Yeah. That all built out. I'm very excited to see that in person for the first time.
It's funny that you bring up John Hughes because we interviewed a film director actually from here locally. Currently lives here, Mondo Franco, and he premiered his short X Massacre at the Arcade and Cinema. It's an independent cinema here locally. And he's hoping to eventually have a showing here. He's got some feature films that he's working on.
Send them my way for sure. Yeah,
he's originally from LA. He actually has been in the industry for over 10 years. Did some whenever web series were in their infancy.
Yeah.
He did a lot of
that's so
web
cool.
series and stuff.
Yes,
he got hired on
that sounds right
to direct some of those episodes and that. But he had made me aware that things were kind of up and running here and the location and everything, and just had high praise for the facility also here. So, and I say that to say this, like everybody that I've talked to that's been here, works here, has just been fantastic. You've got some good crew up here. The hospitality is 10 out of 10.
Oh,
Derek and Jacob helped us out when we came in.
Yeah, they're great. They're great.
And helped us carry our stuff in as well. So
that's so nice.
Yeah, you can't beat that. And that was a long trek from the parking garage too. So
parked on the wrong end of the garage.
Yeah, we're just getting the lay of the land here. And but yeah, dude, they were so kind. And that's the field that I come from is hospitality. And whenever you're hitting all those check marks, you're just adding the icing on the cake and an experience that is cinema as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we sure try. And it's great to hear.
Yeah. Now, with you being so busy outside of, what they might show at Alamo, do you get much a chance to catch films?
No.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I want to. I always want to, but when you work at a movie, you're like, well, I want to be mindful of like, are they too busy? I shouldn't go then.
Right.
Yeah. So I watch a lot of movies at home, but I do still see, like, I just missed A Man Called Otto because I was driving back and forth between the two places a lot when I was in theaters, so I just watched it yesterday. But you can bet that I saw Cocaine Bear on the big screen.
Yeah.
There's some of them you're like, you're like, I've got to see it. Like I saw Top Gun Maverick on the big screen. I definitely saw Ant-Man Quantumania. So I try to make it a point to see at least 2 a month in the theater. Yeah. But I watch a ton of movies. So I'm watching a movie every night, no matter where I am.
Absolutely. And, I just can't give your people enough props, especially you, being timely in communication, and appreciate the opportunity to
for even
sit down
with
and
us.
talk today.
Oh my gosh, I was excited. I was like, let's do this.
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
so
It's always a fun time talking about movies, theaters, and, we like to kind of delve into the business aspect of things because we've worked in retail for long periods of time as well, and just kind of see how the cogs in the machine work behind, whether it's concepts of business and what you do. And I think the St. Louis location here is just built for success.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
thank
a beautiful
you so much.
place.
Yeah, it is beautiful. I would definitely agree. Well, we'd love to have you guys come back out anytime, maybe intro movie or something.
Absolutely.
We would love to.
Like hang out in our lobby, do a live show. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not just spitballing.
Yeah. We're totally open.
I'm
absolutely.
totally open. I love it. Yeah.
That
100%.
sounds wonderful.
And films are, a huge part of what we do, what we're interested in. We do a little bit of everything with, we pay attention to the music aspect of things as well. That's kind of our background is, local musicians and kind of did little Midwest tours and things like that. So, I guess really just the short of it, it just goes all back to the arts.
Yes.
Right.
And, people pouring their energy, their focus into something, a passion that they have. That's why I have a respect for all movies. I try not to use shit on them constantly, right? If it's a bad film, but sometimes they're so bad they're good too.
Yeah.
So, you got to take that risk. Like going into any movie is a risk at times,
It is.
And, the experiences that you have here added to that though, I'm just really looking forward to it myself. I know we're seeing a film tonight. We mentioned it. And I'm looking forward to
talk about so bad it's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
perfect title for
that. It's definitely in that category for sure. Well, Jennifer, we appreciate your time.
Yes,
appreciate you both so much. This was a lot of fun.
We look really forward to maybe doing some more with you guys in the future.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Do it.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Josh from ATI Podcast. For show updates and news about the podcast, follow us on social media. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/ATI Podcast 22, on Twitter at podcast_ATI, on Instagram at the ATI Podcast, on TikTok at ATI Podcast. DMs are always welcome. Have a question for the show? You can always email us at atipodcastquestions@gmail.com. Stay safe out there.
This is Barry here from the ATI Podcast with Josh.
Hello.
And we're speaking with GREG Sestero from The Room, you may know, but many other works. Miracle Valley is one of the more recent works as well. We are here in junction with the 20th anniversary of The Room, and GREG has been so gracious to grant us some of his time. How you doing, GREG?
I'm very good. It's great to be back here. It's a great film scene here, and I'm stoked to finally be back.
We definitely appreciate your kindness, and I've noticed how well you've been with the other guests here too, and the various types of merchandise you have as well was kind of surprising, with some of the posters and things, and it seems like it's being well received.
Yeah, it's one of the great things about The Room and cult movies is how they evolve and grow, and so it's been cool to be a part of that. Obviously, I wrote the book some years ago, and then that got turned into a movie, so the legacy just kind of keeps evolving. So it's really the curiosity is there, especially from young people. It's really strange to come to a showing and there's 12-year-olds.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing I was going to ask too, with the book and then the adaptation by James Franco specifically, were you involved much in that process whenever they were adapting the film, or?
Yeah, so we had a conference call with James Franco 3 weeks after the book came out. He had never seen The Room. He just started reading the book, and he thought this story is an insane Hollywood story that he wants to tell. So I was working through it on the project through all stages. I visited the set quite a bit, worked with the production designer, and it was just a great learning experience, being around all these actors that I really looked up to, how hard they worked making The Disaster Artist, but how much fun they had. Right. And that's sort of what was like, that's what I want to do. And that's sort of what led into me writing Best Friends, was I want to go out and have fun making movies and also try to do something different.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And what did you think about Dave Franco's personification of you in the film?
Yeah, we had a lot in common. I mean, he like saw the room by himself in a hotel room in Chicago, and he's like my brother. I don't know what he's thinking. But he was an aspiring actor that tried to get into all kinds of weird projects, and really took a nice, genuine tone with his performance.
And I will say, too, with that film, the book that you've written, obviously it's from your point of view. A lot of people have probably also been lucky enough to catch Tommy Wiseau in his appearances that he's done in promotion of the film as well. But it's nice to hear a different perspective on how it all came together as well through the book.
Yeah, it was just one of those things, very unique friendship that two people that see the world totally differently. Right. But somehow something came out of it that people enjoy, and I think that's the most important thing is the journey was crazy. A lot of people can learn from it, but the end result was something positive.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it is of one of the most, more popular cult films, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, if not the most popular. And I know that's one of our favorites. It's one that we always try to expose people to if they've never had the chance to see it and make them aware of it. I got to ask, too, as well, as like while you're making it, was it bizarre in some senses, some of the scenes and things? And I know there was like a lot of production hell with replacing actors and things of that ilk.
Yeah, I had a really unique look at it. I knew Tommy 4 years prior to making The Room, so for me, there was a lot of humor, a lot of comedy in the experience, a lot a madness. Right. But I think I was in the best place to enjoy it.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for your time, Greg. I just wanted to get a few quick questions with you, and you've been so gracious, and again, can't appreciate it enough.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Absolutely. And next thing I'm working on, it kind of fits in with The Room, is I'm making a UFO abduction movie. For the 20th anniversary to celebrate The Room, because the people have always said The Room is like as if an alien made a soap opera. Yeah. So I'm going to lean into that and make a new UFO movie called Forbidden Sky. So hopefully you guys will.
Very interesting concept, and best of luck to you going forward. And can't wait to see what you have next in the works.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Right.
Anytime.
Appreciate
Thank you.
This is Barrett from the ATI Podcast. Each week, Josh and I discuss current events, pop culture, music, TV, movies, politics, sports. Nothing is out of bounds. You can also tune in to learn about rising artists, small businesses. Whether it's music, graphic design, filmmaking, or even a brick and mortar mom and pop shop, we will be spotlighting folks and their endeavors. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Anchor, or anywhere you enjoy your podcasts. Just search ATI Podcast. We would like to thank you for your continued support, and as always, please stay safe out there.